Well, this morning I'm going to do this little sketch or little painting of this snow scene in Liverpool, and of course the Beatles, the famous four sons of Liverpool. It's a great picture and a great statue, I think, but they're coated in snow and it's sort of 6 o'clock at night, isn't it, with the street lights on and the snow and the purpley sky. So I'm going to do this in a very sort of simple way, impressionistic. So I've sketched it out anyway, and but I've got to get the tones right. It's mainly greys and blues and purples, but we've got some pinky rose yellowy colours here, but the main purple, the greys of the building, a little bit of light reflected on that building. And this is the famous Liver building, a very iconic building. So I've got to deal with the snow, see if we can put in the footprints as well and the shadows. But anyway, let's have a go. You can see there, hopefully, I've sketched it out in pencil. I was very tempted to ink it in actually, but I think I'll stay with the pencil. So I'm going to take a mop brush, this little one, and put a wash in. I've got to do that purpley sky, haven't I? Let's get that in and see if what we can make of that. So I've got some nice purple colour here on my palette. I mainly use Winsor and Newton. Got a few other colours. I use Daleroni sometimes, and I've got a few Sennelier watercolours which I can use when I'm doing more country scenes, more flowers, and my set has been selected, the colour choices for that particular aim. But of course you can make any colour once you've got the primary colours. But anyway, we're just going to stay with this at the moment. Just going to paint a little bit round here, this iconic building, the library building there, and try and maintain the shapes. So much detail, obviously we can't do all of that, so we just kind of hint at this with our wash. But the main thing is to try and get the tonal values right. And I think I need to have a little bit darker towards the top. So I'm going to get a bit of blue. I've got a mixture of blues, ultramarine, cobalt, but as long as it's a darker tone. It's mainly a tonal study, really. It needs to be much darker, I think. This area, let's get something, as long as if we got it nice and wet, we can make these adjustments. You see I've got my easel tilted, so you can see it running down there. This is the thing about watercolour. In some ways it does its own thing. Right. Leave it with that. And the building, of course we've got to get some dark colours in here, some to reflect this. I think we've got to get some Payne's grey there, I think just wash in our general thing. We can bring out some darker tones when it's a bit dried. So I'm going to do it in layers, really. That's the thing, work from light to dark. It's the traditional way with watercolour. Little dark bits of the building here. I think we can go with that. Little shapes here. But this building in the main building behind the statue, I need to get a lot lighter now. Let's go for a little brown, much lighter greyish colour anyway. Yes, that's not so bad. Yes, I think we can do that. I've got a bit of a point on this brush, so it allows me to have a little bit of control. But as I said, I want to keep it fairly loose. And the way to do that is to use as big a brush as you can, so you don't get too fussy with it. It's a time to use a smaller brush, putting some details in, which we will do, but not at the moment. And then we have slightly orangey colours. Let's see, I've got some orange on my palette, yellowy orange. Let's have a look, get my brush clean. It's a bit grubby there. Yes, I think we can do that. I've got a little bit of bubble of colour there, which I don't quite want at this moment. That's just this sort of side here was, I think I need a little bit more orange. Just sweep it in. And we've got some reddish colours, so I go for a bit of madder. Little rose madder colour. Can wake my paints up a little bit. I haven't painted for a few days. Yes, we can do that. It's catching some light. The street lights here, and in the distance there, sort of orangey light. I think I can put a bit more, slightly darker though, in some of these. Just let the darker tones, that's a little bit of Payne's grey I'm putting on there now, just letting it mix on the paper. And we need a little bit darker here as well. Right, let's leave it flat at the moment. Now I need to get something for this snow, and you've got to remember, snow is, we think of it as white, but in fact it very rarely is white. It tends to reflect other colours that it's got around it, so let's put in a general wash here. Nice big broad strokes. What we want for the moment. And we've got to put our statue in a moment. But I think I should let this dry for a moment. Although I've got a nice shadow line along here. So I'm going to use a bit of grey. It's quite a strong shadow actually. Shadow is cast from something off to the left. So I think I can go with that. Well, it's a little bit wet in the foreground, so it will bleed a little bit. That's not a problem. And we've got shadows coming here as well from under these little trees, and the shadow of the statues as well, casting a little bit between them there. I wonder how many of you can recognise the individuals as they were. You can leave a note in the comments if you can identify who is who. Those of you who've been to the waterfront here will know, of course, but I'm just teasing you. You people who've never been, you must go and see it. Visit Liverpool. Magic place. I'll soften some of these shadow lines there. Lift a bit of that out. Right. And I've got some footprints in the snow. We've got to do that as well. I think perhaps we should do it now, really. So what colour do I do that though? It's, you don't want it too dark, but just enough to suggest some footprints in the snow. Yes, I think we could do that. Not too bad. Oh, we've got some trees here, but I've got to put in all the architectural features of the building, so we can clearly see architectural shapes. We could this is wet on wet, probably a little too wet, so I can get my footprints in. Although being wet, it's bleeding, so you get softer edges to these shapes. Yes, that's not so bad. A little bit of texture into our snow scene here. Right, I think I should let that dry for a moment. And then I've got to put in the some stronger forms on the building. Yes, I think we could probably do that now. So let's get a nice brush, which we can, make it fairly small, this little round one here. It's got a good point to it. So I'm going to use some thickish paint now, some Payne's Grey, to delineate some of these features here. On the top of this building. I think we need a bit more, a bit dry. It's quite thick. I've got there, so it's a put that in there. To suggest some of these features. And this part of the library building is much darker now, so I'm coming with a second attempt at getting some of the details. Still a little bit damp actually, this form here, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. It's giving me a bit more texture. If I bring it down like this with an almost dry brush, it's definitely darker. I've got to have it dark. Certainly in the upper section. Yes, I think we need to bite the bullet so we can show some more of the unique shape of the library building. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. I think it's largely a deco building, but I'm not entirely sure when it was built. Try and get some sort of straight edges. It's what people expect to see. There's the dome of the other pinnacle of the library building there. Right, how are we doing? It's taking shape. I think we need to just give more of a suggestion of this building. Really, there's so much detail. It'd be very easy to get bogged down in it, which is not really what you need to do, I don't think. You still need a little darker here so it can contrast with this lighter building here. But I've got to put some of the windows in there, but maintain the difference in tonal value. It's much lighter behind these. The lower part, there's more straight light affecting it down here, so I'm going to try and maintain some of the lights from the paper. I could put in lights with gouache, of course, that's another option. But we need to suggest the structures here, the top of this building, and we've got strong perspective lines as well coming down here, as you can see. Got a nice hard edge along there. We've got to suggest these windows. These architectural marks. So far in the distance you wouldn't see the details anyway, but your mind fills in what it expects to see, as long as you give the enough suggestions. A little darker along that edge. Building in the distance there. And we need some architectural suggestion in some of these buildings coming in from the right here. Some windows going down into the distance. Right, there we go. Got a car here, which we can suggest it, a little shape there. We've got bollards along here as well, but let's put in something of that building in the background there. So I'm taking a fairly mid-tone, I suppose. Not too dark. I don't want it too dark. My window suggestions. Yes, a little bit too dark. Let's water that down a bit. Don't want to draw too much attention. To them, really. Lots of features, and we've got the flagpoles to put in as well. Just simple little marks to suggest the windows. All the decorative features you get in some of these old buildings. Right, now should we get on and do the boys? Yes, I think we've got to do this, but they're statue is covered in snow actually, so I'm going to try and just do some outlining work just to suggest their shape and form. Yes, I've got shoulders here. They're all wearing thick winter coats. They would have needed it today, wouldn't they? With all that snow. Right. I could put some snow over the forms with the with gouache. I might do that, but let's just see what we can create with this. I'm using Payne's grey here, fairly thick paint, just to get these forms in. Right, how's it coming there? Right. Okay, right, let's leave that for the moment. Then we can put in some, actually that can be a bit darker. We can put in some snow on these. I think that's the way we should do it, with some gouache. It might be a better way. Right. Okay. So you can't really see any of the features of the faces. What's next? I think we need to tighten up a bit on this. We could put in these little trees, which are just very bare for the winter. Get some thick paint. Yes, they were just little twigs really, and branches, just showing a little bit there. Again, just hinting at them. There's bollards here. It's all been pedestrianised, I think, here. There was a nice light here as well. I can see, if I check my reference again. Yes, I can see the, could, yes, it's just about here. So lights, lamp post coming down like this. Do that, and I can see another one out here actually. Let's improve these windows a little bit. As I say, they're only suggestions. Don't want to do all of them, but enough for people to read and say, yes, that's an office building, that's windows. Right. Now we've got, actually there's hints of a building down here, so we could just fill that in a little bit here too. Try and get some more detail. Some of this needs to be a little darker. A little bit of red I'm going to put in there, I think, in a moment. So we've got some texture there. Yes, there's, oh yes, a little bit of dry brush. The texture of the paper will help us there. I can see the pathway there, and that shadows coming there. A little more emphasis on our shadows of our statues coming forward and off to the right of our picture as well. Could suggest some things in here. A little bit of dry brushwork will help. You want to ground your trees, you don't want them look like they're floating. That wouldn't do. Could do a little bit of more work, I think, for some more features here. Sort of pillars and pathways and walls. You could do lots and lots of suggestions, but you want to keep it spontaneous as well. It becomes too laboured. Not a good thing. Put a little few hedges, but I don't want the colours too dark in the distance or too much intensity, because it will detract from what we're trying to do. I think I put a bit more hints of the building there, trying to maintain the perspective of these windows. I can see more bollards in places, so let's add some of those. The street furniture often adds to a painting, actually. The odd track as well. Right, now I've got to ask myself, have I done enough features on our library building? I think I can step that up a little bit. More of these windows, a little bit darker, trying to maintain the perspective on them as well. They are in different levels of the building, of course. Right, let's get a bit of gouache in, I think. Put some highlights in. Yes, I think we could do that. Let's just use the tip of this brush a little bit. It's a bit thicker. Right. My car, could I make that a little bit bigger? Maybe. Oh, let's leave it at that. Let's bring this out a bit, this building. Right, let's get on to the gouache right away. Get some nice slug of gouache going. Okay, here we go. I put some out on my palette the other day. It tends to go very hard and dries out too quick if you put it too soon. But I'm just going to see if I can make use of it anyway. Let's just put a little bit of white down. See, I think I'll get some fresh stuff to put on the statue, but let's see what we can do with a bit of this. Just touching in a little bit of white into the distance there. And I've got some street lights, as I said. Let's Let's try and do that. And yes, I've just noticed some of these, we've got a street lights out here as well. So let's get a few of those. Bright white light. And some of the windows in the building are showing us as well. There's another light there. And the clock. All that face, there's two there. Just a hint. I'm going to put a little splash of white in there. And then if we've got to get the boys with some snow on them, haven't we? Yes, let's bite the bullet. See if I can get it thick. So I don't want it running too much. Are they dry yet? Yes. On top of their heads. Dusting of snow it was. And on their jackets. You can see it. On the arms of some of them there. Their sleeves. Yes, that'll do it. A little bit on the nose of there. The shoulders again. On an overcoat there. Shoulder. Yes, that can do it. So a bit of negative painting here. Paint behind the characters, and then hopefully that will bring them out a little bit better. Yes, I think so. And between our bollards as well, help. If you put light up against dark, it will show better. Put the colour a bit brighter on that face of the wall there. I think we've more or less done actually. I could go on fiddling, but not necessarily a good idea. They say less is more in watercolour. Let's just use a little bit more though. Put some whites in here. Yes, I think so. Do that. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Put in a couple of office bright lights. I can see a light in a couple of the windows. So let's see if I can get a thick enough blob of white. Let's put them in here. They were burning bright. Somebody is working late here. Yes. That's right, we'll do that. Little bit of light down in some of these places. And in the distance there, a bit of light. And a little bit of yellow actually. Let's give a little bit of warmth. So mix some yellow. Yes, that's okay. A bit of yellow down there. And catching a bit of light there. I can see a little bit of red here. Don't know what that was. I think I could put a little down here too. A bit more red light. I think it was a bit orangey light. So I've laid a bit of my rose madder over my yellow. Yes, that's making it a lot pinker, which it was. It gives us a bit of warmth, I think. Right. I'm wondering whether now I should perhaps put a bit more slightly darker purpley sky. You've got to be very careful going back with your sky, unless it's dry enough for you to get away with it. So I'm going to have a go. I need it just a little darker. This far. Yes, I think that's a bit better. Painting round some of the liver building here. By putting a little bit darker in there, it makes the lights a bit lighter. That's what I'm trying to do there. Okay, I think we've got away with that, as long as I don't fiddle around too much. Okay. So, have we done enough? It's good to sit back and ask yourself sometimes, have I done enough? Generally, if you're struggling to see what to add next, you probably have done enough. And you should stop. So, am I taking my own advice? Not necessarily. Okay, let's leave it at that, I think. Right. Now let's take off the tapes. Well, we've got a nice straight edge. Helps frame it a little bit. This is ordinary decorator's tape. Right. There it is. Got to sign it. Where should I sign it? Just here. PGP 2024, as we are now. You can sometimes add a few little touches with your pencil to emphasize some things. No harm in that. So there we are. Anyway, if you like this, please give me a like and hit the subscribe button. Helps my channel grow, gives me some encouragement. And also any comments. So I put the question to you, name the boys, which ones are they? If you had a photograph you could soon see, but just for those who have visited Liverpool, you may be able to tell me. Anyway, thanks for watching.